Senator Yes Queen from Arizona is the Democratic Party's rotating villain and temporary liaison to moneyed interests. While many within the so-called liberal party's ranks are made to hide behind cheap rhetoric in support of policies they don't actually support, Senator Yes Queen from the purple state of Arizona is considered a safe bet to be one of the front people for sabotaging a true public agenda. Here, Can has an exclusive photo of Senator Yes Queen shaking hands with Tully Tycoon. To the shock of liberals that once supported her on the basis of her identity, the senator plans to vote down policies proposed to benefit the environment and lower drug costs for millions of people.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Senator Manchin's announcement came with less than
Hey guys,
an hour's
this is
notice
Tommy
to the
with Tommy
White House.
Nation Politics.
And the announcement means
How's
the
everyone doing
ambitious
today?
package pushed by President Biden to improve education, safety net, and deal with climate change is all but dead. On Fox News Sunday, Manchin portrayed himself as someone who tried in good faith to go along with his fellow Democrats.
I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
Now that prompted an outraged response from the White House, where Press Secretary Jen Psaki issued a statement blasting Manchin for breaching his commitments to President Biden and his colleagues in Congress. She said just as Senator Manchin reversed his position on Build Back Better this morning, we will continue to press him to see if he will reverse his position yet again to honor his prior commitments and be true to his word. Now, Manchin is a Democrat who represents a conservative state where President Biden lost to former President Trump by more than 30 points. And he said the Democratic bill pushed sweeping changes to American society, would cost too much money, and raise taxes too high. Now, the bill would include a monthly per-child cash payment of up to $300 for most parents, child care funding, universal pre-K, and Medicare hearing benefits.
Free thinking, innovative, totally open-minded, Tommy Nation Politics. Your new independent progressive media. And this is Tommy Nation Tuesday. We're talking about the rotating villain, guys.
This ought to be good.
I think so too. About the way forward, Mr. President. As you were leaving for your overseas trip, there were reports that were surfacing that your administration is planning to pay illegal immigrants who are separated from their families at the border up to $450,000 each, possibly $1 million per family. Do you think that that might incentivize more people to come over illegally?
If you guys keep sending that garbage out, yeah, but it's not true.
So this is a garbage report?
Yeah.
Okay. So
$450,000 per person. Is that what you're saying?
That was separated from a family member at the border under the last administration.
That's not going to happen.
Okay, and then just to follow up, because you mentioned Trump a couple times. When you went to try to help Terry McAuliffe a couple weeks ago before you left, you mentioned Trump 24 times. Do you still think that voters really want to hear you talking about Trump more than the issues affecting them every day?
Well, the reason I mentioned Trump, if I didn't count the times, is because the issues he supports are affecting our lives every day.
Do you really believe that Joe Biden will be on
Thank you all very much.
ahead of the debates, or are you just joking?
I'm not joking. I mean, I'm willing to take a drug test. I think he should too, because he's had a very uneven. I watched him with some of when he was with, debating Pocahontas and Harris, who treated him so badly. But I watched him
In May.
and he was adamant. Right? And then I watched him against Bernie Sanders, and he was okay. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. He was okay. A far cry from the way you know what I'm saying. I mean, if you look at some of those debates, I said there's no way he can continue. He can't continue. Then all of a sudden he debated crazy Bernie Sanders, and you know what? The truth is he was okay.
Mr. President, I have a question about something that you just said.
I'm sure you do.
Thank you. You just said there is no wall high enough and no ocean wide enough to protect us from the virus. So what is the thinking behind letting untested and unvaccinated migrants cross the southern border into U.S. cities in record numbers?
There is, what we're doing, we have not withdrawn the order that is sometimes critical or criticized, saying that unvaccinated people should go back across the border. But unaccompanied children is a different story, because that's the most humane thing to do, is to test them and to treat them and not send them back alone.
Mr. President.
If you're not asking me a mean one like you usually do.
President Obama says that there is footage and records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon, and he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask him again. Thank you. Come on, Bob, let's go.
First of all, Mr. President, your voice sounds a little different. Are you okay?
I'm okay. I have a test every day to see a COVID test. I have it checking for all the strands. What I have is a 1.5-year-old grandson who had a cold, who likes to kiss his pop. And he's been kissing him anyway, so, but it's just a cold.
And then, so on COVID policy, it seems like the administration is starting to soften some of the language. There's this new op-ed where you talk about COVID and we are going to beat it back. Are you no longer going to shut it down?
No, we got to beat it back before we shut it down. Look, this is going to take time worldwide. In order to beat COVID, we have to shut it down worldwide. In the United States of America, we're doing everything that needs to be done to take care of the American people within our borders.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics.
Well, hello to everybody at Norman. Thanks for doing this. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Tell you what, I've done so far, Santa's really moving, man. That sleigh taking over 75,000 drops, that's how heavy it is. Sleigh.
How fast it is, it's faster than the star.
Faster than the star?
Faster than the starlight.
All right. What?
More time.
I'm ready.
I'll pass this off here. Who's going to tell you how this works?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. President and Dr. Biden. This is Preston with the North Texas program. And all we have some bids in the queue ready to go. So when you give us the green light, we'll patch you through the first trio of bids that are talking at the family.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks.
It will be not going to be Caleb, who's 9, Coraline is 3, Dylan 12, and they are in Washington.
Caleb
We're
and
not connected.
What was the third child's name?
Caleb.
Caitlin.
And he's on the line, ma'am.
Oh, Caleb, Carol.
hey, Caleb,
Hey, how are you?
are you in Washington, huh?
Merry Christmas.
How old are you?
I'm 9.
You're 9.
You're getting old.
What did you ask for Christmas?
Caleb, can you say?
Tell us again?
Yes.
Okay.
What'd you ask for Christmas, honey?
Legos.
Legos.
Lego. Okay.
You already have a lot of Legos already?
We've had a lot of inflation.
Yes.
I don't know about Legos.
Okay.
But all right.
Hey,
What are you hoping to build?
what do you want to build back better? Want to build back better, little Caleb? Huh?
Lego City.
Oh, a Lego City.
Whoa.
I was wrong.
Santa would be interested to come back and see that.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
I think Santa might be bringing Legos to our house too for one of our grandchildren.
One of our kids asked for
We're hoping that's what Santa's going to
You
bring.
gotta be in bed by 9 o'clock and be asleep between 9 and 12. Because that's when Santa comes. If you're not asleep, he won't come.
That's when my boss Joe Manchin for sleep. About 9 p.m.
What does she want?
He said I'm gonna get a lot for Christmas from Goldman Sachs and Citigroup. Woo-wee.
You know what you're
My basement's gonna be full of Legos, Caleb. You wanna come play with me in my basement? Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I'm having difficulty hearing. Good boy.
He wants a horse.
A horse?
A horse.
Whoa. Oh, how's Santa going to get a horse in his sleigh?
Well, he's done that before. But I don't know.
That's pretty tough.
I don't know.
Well, good luck. We hope you get your horse.
You want a pony, kid? You can't have a pony. What are you, a Bernie bro? You a Bernie bro?
Just make sure.
You want a pony, don't
you're
you?
in bed by 9 o'clock.
Fucking sexist Bernie bro.
Can't be up late.
Go to bed, you sexist Bernie bro.
You'll have no shot.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, sorry we had a bad connection. I hope you can hear us. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hello, we're with Griffin, age 11, Hunter, age 8, Piper, age 4, Penelope, age 2, from Oregon.
Oregon.
Okay, Penelope. So Griffin, Hunter, Piper, and Penelope. Is that correct? Okay.
That is correct. Hello.
That's correct, ma'am. You got it. Go ahead. Talk to him like you care.
Merry Christmas. Who's this?
This is Jared.
Hi, Jared.
I assume you're dad?
Hi. Yes, sir.
Oh.
All right. I just
Okay, Dad.
What do you want for Christmas?
maybe a quiet.
Lots of luck, Dad. Well, you know, Dad, we have a Hunter too.
Yeah.
We have a son named Hunter and a grandson named Hunter.
I didn't know you had a grandson named Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
Do. She's telling me we don't.
No.
We have a grandson. I have a grandson named Hunter.
I know.
He's 16 years old.
I was thinking of the baby.
That's Bo.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway. Well, how old's Griffin?
Griffin, you want to say?
I'm 11.
Tell me, what'd you ask for Christmas? What do you want Santa to bring you? A piano? Holy mackerel. Well, I tell you what.
I was gonna.
We had trouble hearing you, Dad.
I was gonna say, cut some trees down to get a piano.
Well, I said, what's Hunter want as his big gift? Switch, is it?
And then Nintendo's with it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Nintendo. Great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How about Piper?
Well, Piper actually left the room before you got up. It comes to a Barbie airplane.
Oh, a Barbie. I still have my Barbie, and Santa. I'm trying to think. I think Santa brought my Barbie.
A long time
My
ago.
Barbie was the first Barbie. My Barbie's ancient Barbie. She's now grandmother.
I kept my Barbie
Maybe she'll bring
to
her
torture her.
She'll bring her granddaughter.
Let her hear my laughing.
And how about Penelope?
Like things are funny. The richest country in the world where income inequality hasn't been seen since the Gilded Age.
Yeah. Oh, that's
People have no fucking living wages.
Well,
have a Merry
Evictions
Christmas.
moratoriums
Have
are
a
looming.
wonderful Christmas.
and by the way,
You
guys have to be in bed by 9 o'clock.
Be in bed by 9, fat.
Sleep between 9 and 12, or he doesn't show up.
This isn't to you, Jared. This is to the kids.
That's right.
You have a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, if you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. Hey, by the way, where are you in Oregon?
Where's your home?
Wah, wah. Bye-bye, little boo.
Okay.
Have a great day, little boo. He agrees.
9-year-old Evan, 6-year-old
Let's
Josh
go.
and 2-year-old
Brandon Boo.
Yeah! Get off the stage.
I agree. It's stupid. It's oversaid. But sometimes you can't say it enough, guys. That would be Let's Go Brandon. It's okay, the old man agrees too. It's alright, guys. Hi, I'm Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. Thank you for listening and watching Tommy Nation Politics. If you always want to hit us up, make sure that you go to our website, www.tommynationpolitics.com, or you can send us messages on Facebook by going to facebook.com/TommyNationPolitics. It's facebook.com/TommyNationPolitics. We are a free-thinking, innovative, totally open-minded, new progressive media. And we're here for you guys. You, the people. We, the people, are supposed to establish justice, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings to ourselves and our posterity. You know, Gina Haspel, a person with an infamous history of torture in the CIA, she's been nominated by the also competent Biden administration, guys, for Secretary of Defense. Can y'all guess what happened? Well, let me tell you. Now, you would think that women, if you didn't know who Gina Haspel was, she's the ex-CEO of Raytheon, of course, and journalists, real journalists like Len Greenwald. Well, he said that it should be easy to vote her out if the Democrats really cared about peace instead of war, or people over profits. But they don't. The Democrats, to oppose her nomination, they ended up getting a few deflectors to vote with Republicans as well. To confirm her. Haha, she was confirmed, guys. Within the realm of politics, many games and propaganda techniques are utilized to distract and influence the masses of the electorate. Most propaganda techniques are cultivated through the common logical fallacy and social peer pressure, i.e., arguments ad populum, which means the masses are always correct. The masses are never correct, guys, and logical fallacies are flawed, deceptive, false arguments that can be proven wrong without very much argument because they have no reasoning. The most common logical fallacies you should know about are the red herring, of course. Whataboutism, what about Trump, what about Obama, what about Biden? These are all common logical fallacies and propaganda techniques of politics. Another propaganda technique of politics is the circular argument, guys. This occurs when a person's argument repeats what they already assumed before without arriving at a new conclusion. For example, if someone says, according to my brain is reliable. Well, that's a circular argument. Another example, smoking pot is against the law because it's wrong. I know it's wrong because it's against the law. You see how that's a catch-22? Circular arguments often use a claim that both preempts and post-empts a conclusion. And this fallacy only appears to be an argumentum ad populum when in fact it's just restating one's assumptions by the mainstream mass media state-sponsored television would be a dubious task. Arguments and debates are an important part of discourse, especially political discourse. But not every argument is perfect. Some can be picked apart because they have errors in reasoning, in rhetoric. These are called logical fallacies, and they're very common. The rotating villain, illogical fallacious thinking, is a circular and without end, therefore defined as circular fallacy. It is a circular logical fallacy. The rotating villain is a circular fantasy, kind of presumpting an argument where it only appears to be an argument, just restating the assumptions in a way that looks like an argument. You can recognize a circular argument when this conclusion also appears as one of the premises in the argument. Got that, guys? When a conclusion often presents itself as a premise in a logical argument, that is a logical fallacy, known as a circular fallacy. Now, the circular fantastical fallacy was made popular by the manufacturing consent propaganda narrative of mass mainstream state-sanctioned media, and the rotating villain came into germination with the American democracy now rife with political despots, unscrupulous men usurping the reins of government for themselves and not the power of the people, carving for themselves with the very engines that gave them unjust dominion, leadership roles, mandates, legislation, using the majority party as the scapegoat in order to designate a evil rotating villain scapegoat who will refuse to vote within the party, thereby killing the legislation. The opposition is otherwise inexplicable and typically comes from someone who is safe or not up for re-election. That's the key. You've got to be not up for re-election, or you've got to be safe from being voted out by your constituency. This allows for the maximum diffusion of responsibility for their political party. Now, political parties are good at this. They've made this an extremely easy thing to do with the different kinds of factions within their political parties. In reality, the Republicans and the Democrats are two sides of the same coin. However, they usurp the reins of government to the point where they can inexplicably put up legislation to thereby safeguard themselves from political onslaught or primary, and then take that diffusion of responsibility and put it on a rotating villain. There can be many at one time. There has been the most famous, Donald Trump, who was the Orange Menace threat to democracy while they were robbing us with their gifts to foreign aid donors, usurping the reins of all of our civil liberties, curvatures of those, and taking the taxpayer dollars and not furnishing the taxpayer with any relief from the COVID pandemic, which they utilized to destroy small businesses and buffer the stock market with government money, and their donors enrich them beyond all imagination. But they also used, within the realm of the committees and chairs of the Congress and in the executive branch, Gina Haspel, a person with an infamous history of torture, as I just stated. Not only was she nominated to head the agency from which she was known to sell weapons for, but not only did that happen, guys, but it happened with beautiful rotating villain prestige and practice. It's part of a familiar pattern. While the Democratic Party talks a good game about the human and civil rights and other issues that are popular with its supporters, many in leadership and the leadership positions are big fans of the national security state and oligarchy, and they do not want to harm that deep state. Don't forget Obama's CIA Director John Brennan and Director of National Intelligence James Clapper supported Haspel and also made up the whole story about the Steele dossier from which Trump was supposedly being paid on by Russian hookers. The rotating villain strategy, where for such critical issues, there always seem to be a few people who buck the party line. Greenwald quotes an earlier post of his, "The primary tactic in this game is villain rotation. They always have a handful of Democrat senators, a handful, announcing that they will be the ones to deviate this time from the ostensible party position and impede the success, but the designated villain constantly shifts, so the party itself can claim it supports these measures, while an always changing handful of their members invariably prevent it. It's a prime leading the way protection. Same thing that happened with the surveillance programs and Edward Snowden. Same thing that happened with the Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Schumer joining hands, breaking with their party to ensure Michael Mulcahy's confirmation as Attorney General. Then it's big bad Joe Lieberman single-handedly blocking Medicare expansion.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's difficult to be here. I struggle to understand how we can be here after so many years. There have been so many stories told. There's been so much criticism. There has been so much deception. And where has it brought us? Has this been constructive? Is this a victory for us, for the state, for humanity, for our rights? When I came forward in 2013, I said the reason that I came forward was that we have a right to know that which is done to us and that which is done in our name by our governments. That was already under threat. And when you look at the world since, it seems that that trend is accelerating. Do we still have that right? Do we have any rights if we don't defend them? Well, today we see someone who has stood up to defend that right, who has aggressively championed that right at an extreme cost. And it's time for us to defend his rights. What we're witnessing is a murder that passes without comment. And I want to say that it is difficult for me to comprehend the spectacle of the press of the nation, or the developed world, aiding and abetting with full knowledge a crime not only against this man, but against our public interest. However, at this moment, that we all see this, we all feel it. It's no less familiar than the shoes on my feet. Everywhere we look, from Afghanistan to economics, from pandemic to pervasive surveillance, the obvious has been made unspeakable. It has become unspeakable because the truth of our circumstances could be taken as evidence in the defense of the actions of the out of favor. And in the eyes of the American state, few represent this class, a greater object of hatred than the person of Julian Assange. He has been charged as a political criminal, something that I understand quite well, but he has been charged as the purest sort of political criminal for having committed the transgression of choosing the wrong side. The charges, which are they are absolutely an unadorned legal fiction. We are told to believe that the state has these powers over what can be said and what can't be said, the things that can and cannot be said. But what happens if we permit that? Where does that lead? What are we? Can we be said to be free? If even our power to express ourselves, to understand the facts of our world can be fenced off from us, that we look beyond, through the gauze, through the veil, at what could be the facts of the world, but we're not permitted to acquire them. Julian Assange did not accept that, and the charges against him reduced to an allegation to commit the crime of journalism in the first degree. Which is to say, when we look at it applied elsewhere, the same sort of publication of classified material that we see in the New York Times or the Washington Post, aggravated by a conspiracy to accomplish the same, which is simply uncovering an uncomfortable truth. But something distinguishes Julian Assange from the greatest newspapers of our day, and that is his independence. Julian Assange is not a person who will be told no lightly. I remember in the case of 2013, when I came forward and revealed evidence of mass surveillance, which the government of my country had constructed the apparatus of mass surveillance, an entire scheme that spanned the globe, with the participation of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and of course the United Kingdom. And when the newspapers of all of these countries began publishing these things, one of the papers who held the archive of material originally included The Guardian, who was headquartered in the United Kingdom, still is. And I remember reading a story. Of course, I wasn't there for it personally. I'm getting this secondhand. Who knows what we can rely on in the state of journalism as it is today. But they were approached by the British state, who said, okay, you've had your fun, you've done enough, now it's time to stop. And they had to send their archival material away. to the United States, to a partner publication, because they no longer believed that they were safe to continue publishing. And they were right. Agents of the British state went to The Guardian. They destroyed their laptop computers. They've got it on film, putting angle grinders to computer chips, trying to erase any trace that these stories had been written from within the confines of the newsroom. Now, Julian was not deterred by that, and he never would be. When you perform the level of surveillance against a person that has clearly been performed and is being performed, even today, certainly in prison, against Julian Assange, you understand at least something about that character. You understand what the breaking point is. You know what it'll take to make them bend. And he didn't bend. He will break before he does. He has consistently and continuously dared to speak the unspeakable in the face of opposition, in the face of power, and that is a remarkable and rare thing. That is the reason that Julian Assange sits in prison today. If you love the truth, as I think everyone here does, you wouldn't be listening to this, you wouldn't be watching this, you wouldn't be participating in this, you wouldn't care about this unless something in you told you that something important was happening here. And if you do care, as I think you do, you are a criminal of the same category as Julian Assange.
Then it's Blanche Lincoln and Jim Webb joining with Lindsey Graham to support the defunding of civilian trials for terrorists. And now that they can't blame Lieberman or Ben Nelson any longer on healthcare, since they don't need 60 votes, Jay Rockefeller voluntarily returns to the villain role, stepping up to put an end to the pretend movement among the Senate Democrats to enact the public option via reconciliation. We should not think of that this is done explicitly in secret discussions, guys. It's more of a nod and a wink. It's more of letting people know what a deflection would not have or have on any repercussions or receive strong condemnations from a party leadership. Think about who is the Democratic Party. Who said, I am the Democratic Party right now in the debate with Donald Trump? Oh, your party will dominate you. Well, turns out the party leadership has always been and will always be Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. They're the ones who have gotten these bills across the finish line. Same as when Donald Trump was in the executive branch. The party leadership knows how the game is played at the highest levels. So let's not get our hopes up, guys, that all the Democrats will oppose Haspel, because they didn't, spoiler alert. Let's not get our hopes up, guys, that we'll ever have Medicare for all, a Green New Deal. We'll never legalize marijuana, and we will never have peace in the Middle East. Because there will always be, guys, a time and a place for the rotating villain. A designated villain picked by the team, set out on the slaughter as a virgin thrown into a volcano for your entertainment, for your pleasure, for your anger, for whatever you need to stop and be distracted and not cope with the reality that if you're a Democrat or Republican, your party is shit, usurping the reins of government and power of we the people. And you, by definition, voting for these two treasonous, all-encompassing evil tyrants are complicit to the raping of democracy. This is the memo.
In the eyes of the state, what differentiates you, what divides you from him, that is only the degree. We share the same guilt. Each of us share in the crime, and we are unindicted co-conspirators in his quest to raise a lantern in the halls of power. Each of us shares in the forbidden desire to see justice done not merely to the instruments of these darkest moments of the human condition that we've heard about all day here, torture, extrajudicial killing, Putin's aggressive war, but to see justice done to their architects. And I have to say, here, each of us will also share, and to me will happen without the faintest regret, in his ultimate fate, if we do not stop what is happening now.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?